is Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. Batman, the new movie of 2022 in the DC Comics series of movies. Does it suck? Is it worth the watch? Who do we see in this movie? And other questions and discussions will be talked about today on this topic. Welcome to A Reason to Talk with Chris Reason. I have two special guests with me today, Bryce and Chad Nickerson.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you guys for joining me in today's episode of the podcast. Before we get into this discussion on the movie, I'd like the listeners to just be aware of spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it or listen to the podcast if you don't mind the spoilers, and are always going to see it anyways. Are you a fan of poetry? All kinds of poetry, such as dark, down-to-earth, and relatable poetry? Then come check out my new book, Nostalgic Memories, a book of dreams and nightmares as poems. Out now, available on Amazon Kindle for $9.99 or the paperback version of the book for $14.99. Get your copy today. Now, back to today's episode. Now, let's start this off by talking about the length of the movie. What's your guys' thoughts on it being 3 hours? Did it need to be 3 hours?
Why don't you go ahead first, Chad?
Well, actually, I didn't know it was 3 hours long because I fell asleep about 4 times.
That sounds like the guy that was snoring in the theater.
Yeah, there was someone actually out snoring behind us.
I
don't know if he made it more comfortable for me. But to admit, I am slightly old, so it usually happens when I lay down on a recliner. I gotta see a movie like twice and pick up the parts that I fell asleep to. That's not degrading the movie.
Do you guys? I feel like, in my opinion, it could have been like 2.5, just shorten it a little bit, and you could still got a lot of stuff come across, or they could have done a little bit more with the characters.
The thing about that, if you go back to the movie, can you really think of like specific scenes that should have been cut in the movie? I thought it was perfect the way it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you think of any specific scenes in the movie that they should have cut out or left out?
The whole scene of chasing Penguin, who had nothing to do with it.
The coolest like Batmobile chasing scene ever. Like, they should have cut that.
That was a good scene, but like they literally could have shortened it. Besides that part, the action scene part.
That's how they figured out who was actually the rat, though.
Right.
They misdid their Spanish, but that was a cool ass chase scene on the highway. That was the biggest action shot of the whole movie. They're not gonna cut that out.
No, but like they were still like you could have cut out some of the stuff in there. You could have kept that. You could have got rid of the part where like you needed the part where her Selena Kyle's friend goes missing. But
oh yeah, nobody really cared about her friend.
No one did, including the guy snoring in the theater.
No, actually, it all has to come together because. Sorry, I'm gonna put my hand on your shoulder to give me a second thought. No, the friend thing. That's because Selena Kyle, our Catwoman, had to have a reason to help Batman. Otherwise, she had no motive to help Batman. So that's why her thing was in it.
Right.
It all has to connect. Like the writers thought about this. CJ, don't worry.
But do you think it could have been shorter?
Like, any movie can be shorter, but I thought it was.
But like, would it have been shorter and still got as many things done?
I would think so, because with whatever time I fell asleep, I didn't need those parts of the movie to realize what was still going on and what happened.
22 minutes in?
I thought the length was totally perfect the way it was.
Alright, now let's get to the characters. We have Batman. We're going to start off with the main one. Batman against Bruce Wayne. Against Batman and Bruce Wayne. Well, you know how like you got technically you got two different characters. You got Batman, you got Bruce Wayne. Most people that have played Batman/Bruce Wayne have done different personas for the character. They have done different versions of the character to hide the fact that they weren't Bruce Wayne. Now, that being said, out of all the Batmans, with Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and being Batman, what would you guys think?
I don't know what really your question was.
Well, it's a different.
What
it's still
for this version?
Of Batman, though,
right, everything's always a different version of Batman.
Yeah.
But Robert Pattinson, it wasn't as bad in my opinion as
Are you asking what his performance as Bruce Wayne was?
Yes.
Well, different Bruce Wayne, because this one's kind of like more emo, obviously with Nirvana. You think I know how to read? Anyways, no, I think I enjoyed a different take on Bruce Wayne. I thought he had more character, and I thought he had more emotion than previous Batmans and Bruce Waynes. I enjoyed like more in depth on the character of Bruce Wayne.
Speaking of emo, though, from before, he did look like a very Simo or Ian version of Bruce Wayne, and I could have swore we were watching a My Chemical Romance or Paramore music video for a second, or even early Panic at the Disco.
His haircut, especially, I could see the eyeliner because of the mask and stuff, where it wouldn't actually be able to be seen.
I did like that touch though, because every Batman like pretty much is wearing like eyeliner to cover up the rest of the eye, and they actually showed that part.
I enjoyed it because like he was obviously distraught about his family's past, and not as much as the previous Bruce Waynes. Like, this was really a big factor in the movie and Bruce Wayne, how much of his parents and his family's past affects him and everything.
Yeah. Catwoman, Selena Kyle. Now, that one, they're pretty much almost the same character. As in, there's not much difference, like how there is a difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. Could she have been involved in the movie more?
Well, she's hot. Let's just get that out of the way.
Well, yeah, Zoe Kravitz is amazing.
She was incredibly beautiful, and obviously she could have been in the movie more, but like I thought she was perfectly in there for the amount of time that they needed her to be in.
I also,
I agree.
Well, I felt like they were trying to push towards almost kind of doing a sequel to an extent with the almost relationship between Catwoman and Batman.
Yeah, I'd pay to see them get on. Not gonna lie. Different theater for that, but I'll see it.
It's just in the back of Marcus. It's behind the concession stand. But no, if you look at any of the games, or like the Arkham games especially, or the Telltale series of Batman, or the comic books, there is a relationship between Batman and Catwoman at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Where to the fact that almost Selena Kyle still has no idea who Batman is, and then literally in the movie, or in the scene where like I thought Batman was going to unmask, and like Selena Kyle was going to figure out they did that in the comic series. So I thought they were going to pull off something towards that. Penguin, or Oz, what they known in the credits for it. Was this version of Penguin compared to any other portrayals of Penguin different or better in any way?
Probably more realistic than the cartoonish one version with whoever it was.
Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito.
Oh, yeah, Danny DeVito with the pointing nose. Well, yeah, but that's also the version of... who am I thinking of? Who directed that?
Tim Burton?
Tim Burton, yeah.
Yep.
With his crazy whatever style it is, with the dark and comical. Bryce, what do you think?
I thought it was a fantastic portrayal of the Penguin. Again, like, this more realistic than the comic-like movies in the past, but I thought Colin Farrell did a phenomenal job as the Penguin. The makeup and everything, he looks just great. Like, he played very well, and he's probably going to be in a future, if they do a sequel, he's probably in a future movie in a bigger role, so really looking forward to that.
I do feel like he could be used in a future movie for that role, like you were saying. Also being said, the fact that when we're doing comical with like Danny DeVito's character, or even the Adam West version of Penguin is still comical. But also you got that whole series of Adam West's more comical side than serious anyways. When you were watching it, could you tell it was Colin Farrell?
No, I couldn't.
I really didn't know who the hell Colin Farrell was before this.
I've seen other movies with
Can we
him.
stop the podcast and go look him up?
Bring up your phone, just don't make it ring or anything. What I like the most about it is also the comparison of the character and the makeup of the Penguin, which is basically based off of the Arkham series and the comic books that literally use the same look as the Penguin in the Arkham series, which I really liked that. Especially in the later, well, I think it was either the later or the second Arkham game, where they did that with that same character.
Yeah.
James Gordon. In this version of Batman, he is not yet the commissioner. Which was better? Jeffrey Wright in The Batman with Robert Pattinson for 2022, or Gary Oldman?
I have to say Gary Oldman is like not one of my favorite actors, but like such an amazing actor that I can't put Jeffrey Wright above him in the portrayal.
I thought Jeffrey Wright did a great job. It's the way I kind of look at it is like comparing those characters is kind of like comparing the Batman versus the Dark Knight, just in general. Just like I feel like they're like even personally, just in how much I enjoyed it. Jeffrey Wright has like different things that he did with his character than Gary Oldman, and I feel like obviously both are phenomenal characters. But honestly though, like the more I'm talking, Gary Oldman is kind of like Commissioner Gordon, like.
Well, yeah. I feel like also with the trilogy of Gary Oldman, Bailey, and all of those, it kind of defeats the purpose of kind of visualizing everybody else. Yeah. But Jeffrey Wright, in my opinion, he did portray the character to its almost entirety for how much we saw him in there. I mean, we didn't really see any of like the other side stuff. Like if you go into the comics, his daughter becomes Batgirl and stuff like that. You don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know any. Irrelevant to the first story, at least.
Yeah, and there's nothing else that's going on for that stuff. So. That's okay. There's a character I didn't add in here, but I wanted to add it real quick. Alfred. Do you think he could have provided more character in that compared to other Alfreds.
I don't think they really used him much, but considering the movie was so long already, they probably had to cut something out. Maybe that's what they had to cut out.
Well, Alfred's always like a side character as much as he's great in the series and everything, but I think, he did his part. Emotional distress when he got bombed.
Well, the emotional distress with that and the fact that he also was there to help decipher half of those riddles, which was great with half all that.
Yeah.
Now, kind of comparing with the comical version, which is kind of hard to do, we have the Riddler. Completely opposite sides of the spectrum with Jim Carrey versus, I forgot the actor's name who played the Riddler in this. I feel like there could have been more done in this with like the riddles and other clues, and then could have been a little bit more into that side. What do you guys think about that?
Well, if you're already complaining how long the movie is, I don't know how much you want more riddles and clues.
Well, the thing is, I think the Riddler thought Batman was actually helping him in the movie. So Batman basically answered every riddle like almost 5 seconds. Not everyone, but almost right away when he's at a scene. Batman knew what it was.
Well, that also I feel like half the stuff we could have thought of. Like the police were just dumb enough not to realize.
Yeah, maybe Batman
and they're
said it
corrupt
first.
too. That's another thing.
Oh yeah, most of the freaking police force was corrupt and owned by Falcone. That also being sort of segue into the next character here, Carmine Falcone. Did John Turturro, probably butchered the name, do the best Carmine Falcone? Have we seen that character in any of those Batmans that we can think of?
I don't think so. I don't remember that character at all.
So I remember that character in The Dark Knight. Do you guys remember him in The Dark Knight?
No.
He was at that table. I mean,
was it the table with when they introduced the Joker with the pencil thing?
He sort of has like yellowish hair, like.
So he was in it for like so he wasn't really in it.
He was.
It was like almost like a cameo type of thing.
You guys talk. I'm gonna pull up on my phone and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I know the scene you're talking about, but I don't remember like anything else besides that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember. If he was in the movie, it wasn't like based around him or anything. It was just like he's
just there.
Mafia underground and stuff.
I thought he did a good job, but I feel like I was kind of expecting more, if that makes sense.
Well, if they're doing sequels, he'll be involved, most likely.
Did he die though?
Yeah, he just died.
Oh, yeah, I slept during that part, sorry.
You slept during the ending? Or almost the ending?
No, they were swimming around in some flood. It looked like the day after tomorrow when it was dark.
This guy.
Oh, yeah, okay, that actor. I know the actor now. I can't remember his name either, but I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
Is that Eric Stoltz, maybe?
Sure, whatever.
Yeah. It's Eric something, I know that.
Okay.
But besides that, do you think anyone could do a better job than John Turturro? I feel like he did a fantastic job as Carmine Falcone, especially with his range of other character that he's played in the past. Like in Big Lebowski, he played Jesus, like the hated bowler.
I just like him in Transformer movies.
That too, he's a comedic character almost, and actually, I think he is a comedic character in the Transformers series. But he's a great actor. I mean,
he did great.
I can't picture really anyone else doing a better job for that character.
Oh, too bad he died then. I missed that part.
You have to go back and watch it.
I'll go watch it again.
To be completely honest, I could have seen somebody a little bit more intimidating than him, but
Intimidating, yes.
Yeah, because he's the
Maybe
biggest
Colin
mob
Farrell
boss
could have
in the
played
city.
two actors.
Just take off the makeup.
I don't know, but no, he did a good job. But he's probably one of like the lower ranked characters I'd list, just because again, I feel like somebody more intimidating would be perfect because he is the main bad guy.
Do you have anybody in mind that you could picture? As in, like actor-wise, that could be doing that?
Not anybody off the top of my head, but I mean, pick a couple of intimidating actors and just throw them in.
Yeah. You could put almost anybody in there because he's skinny. He's
like a mob boss kind of guy.
Yeah, like every time someone says mob boss, the first thing I think of is Goodfellas and Godfather.
You could literally
maybe the guy who's the bad guy in Daredevil. That guy.
Kingpin?
Yeah, put the Kingpin in there.
Or,
a little more intimidating.
Or you guys could put the guy from Bar Rescue in there.
John Taffer. There's roaches in the water.
Picture that. Picture the guy from Bar Rescue.
A little bit more intimidating, yes.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. I could see John Taffer doing that. Let's just replace let's go find the movie. Edit all the scenes of John and put John Taffer in there.
Yep.
That's a movie I would see.
We're going to take a short break here for a second and hear a message from our sponsor. Do you need that boost of energy? Are you going to the gym? Are you trying to wake up for work? Or even trying to get some serious hours of gaming done? Well, I have your answer. That's W Energy. Get your generalist fix of energy boost, the Galaxy Grenade. and multiple other flavors. Use the promo code CRN10 to get 10% off your order today. Visit w.gg/discount/CRN10. That's DUBBY.gg/discount/CRN10. All right, welcome back. I'm here again with Chad and Bryce Nickerson of Nickerson fame, if that's a fame.
It is.
Let's get we're getting off topic of characters
We're
here.
getting off already.
Wow! Let's go with designs of the vehicles. Bat motorcycle. It was. I don't think they really showed anything with that besides being the fact it was a motorcycle.
Yeah. Compared to the last one, the Dark Knight obviously was a phenomenal.
Well, Dark Knight was phenomenal. I can guarantee you that.
The movie, yeah. I'm saying like the Bat motorcycle that.
Oh yeah, there was a lot more gadgets in it.
This movie's technology wasn't like. I think this is
more realistic too.
It's like in his earlier years, I think.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have everything set up yet for technology that he needs.
Yeah, makes sense.
That he uses in the Dark Knight, at least, even though it's a different Batman.
All right, let's move on to the Batmobile. Do you guys think this Batmobile is better than any of the other ones? Do you think it works for what he did? I feel like it being just like the car and like what you said being earlier, you don't really need anything. I mean, you got the speed, you got the boost, and that's pretty much all you need.
Right.
There could have been some other stuff in there, but I don't think he's gone into that. Hell, we haven't seen the Morgan Freeman of this version of Batman. Yeah, which is funny that I can't think of the guy's name, but I can think Morgan. Thank you. I couldn't think of that, but I can think of Morgan Freeman. Now that we're discussing of the Batmobile, though, in your opinion, I'm ranking the Michael Keaton. I should have said Michael Keaton as a term Tim Burton films because I think it's the same Batmobile. No, 4 movies. For between all movies and every single one, for between the 50s and 60s with the Adam West, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton era, Christian Bale, the Ben Affleck, and the Robert Pattinson one, which out of all those Batmobiles do you think would be the better one? Or is the better one?
Why don't you go ahead and take this first, Chad?
I may have to go back and rewatch some Batmobile.
Batmobile. Get that cereal today. The 30-year-old cereal box. I'm saying Christian Bale's.
Probably.
Mainly for the fact that, yes, it is futuristic. It's a fucking tank.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Compared to the rest, I think the Ben Affleck one was very similar, not too far off from that one. But nobody, like you said, you forgot.
Yeah.
And so we don't even know. Now, with Catwoman trying to find her friend and potentially getting Falcone, we pretty much discussed that already in the beginning. Do you think they could have done better with that whole series or a whole section? Like you could have found more clues, could have figured out where she was. Well, she could have, in my opinion, her friend could have done a little bit more than just be caught within a picture with a mirror.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it was very minimal to the plot. It was just to get Catwoman and Batman closer to actually solve the bigger picture of the Riddler crimes. Like, nobody really cared too much about the whole Bond girl with the mayor thing. Obviously, in the movie they did, but, like, outside of it, nobody really batted an eye. But it was just so Batman and Catwoman, it's just writing plot to get them closer together.
No, in this particular movie, do you think Penguin could have played a bigger part? I mean, he did pretty much what he was supposed to be there. He was not really the head mob boss that we thought he was, in the beginning, when they first questioned him out of everything. I felt like he could have been in there more, but also the same with it being Carmine Falcone doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, they definitely want to save him for if they do a sequel, and definitely with the Riddler, Falcone, and like other aspects and villainous people and groups and everything. It's hard to fit everybody into one movie to make sure that they get all their screen time. But I thought he had a fair amount of screen time, and I thought he did great with what he did in it.
Yeah, I agree. The movie was basically Batman versus Riddler. Everything in the background was
just there to help push everything forward.
Yep.
Falcone accidentally killing Batman's parents. Now, do you think he did that on purpose?
Well, you just said it was an accident. I'm just kidding.
Well, he stated at first that it was an accident, and then they were like, "Yeah, I killed the guy," and then they pretty much killed his parents because of that.
Well, Why don't you take this one? Chad, is it? Is that your name?
I don't know enough about the entire story, whether it be based off the comics or whatever it's based off of.
Well, I can tell you this, for like all the movies that they've made, I think this is the first time of us actually figuring out who did kill Batman's parents.
Well, it's different every time too, honestly.
That's almost
They
like how
change it up.
that's like how the Joker in movies have been come to be.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the Michael Keaton one, he was a mobster that fell into like the Acme pollution or waste or whatever it was, and then that's how he turned to it. And then pretty much he turned to the white face paint, which was just actually his skin. Heath Ledger, I don't remember if they did like a background on that one, but then he also got like the show Gotham, where you have the Arthur person pretty much turned into Joker. In that sense, there's not really a set background or origin story on some of these people, especially like the Joker, how to be. Would you think, like, let's move on to the ending scene here. We not like a end credit scene, but something to get the movie going further. You have Riddler in Arkham, and he's freaking out, seeing Batman fix everything with that after the flood and trying to save people. But you also have somebody that we are making the assumption that it's the Joker talking to him. Now, is there any other character you guys could think that wouldn't make it the Joker?
Well, the facial features for a second did look like Two-Face, just because the face kind of looked messed up from one side and the other side looked okay. I don't know if you guys saw that too. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I think I saw the like little scar, and like you only did see the side profile
It did look like,
of the character.
But if he had a scar on the other side, it could be like the smile part of his face.
True, but you don't see it.
You don't see it entirely.
I mean, I heard
Probably because they don't have him cast yet.
Well,
guess.
completely right.
Yeah.
If they use him in the future movie.
I had a unique theory that is 100% not true, but it'd be cool maybe if it was like Clayface, like imitating like different like Arkham Asylum patients, like the Joker, Two-Face, like you can keep changing in each of them and like develop their personalities or something.
That would be pretty interesting, especially since we haven't seen a live action movie with Clayface yet.
Like a realistic one would be kind of cool, but I feel like the movie, the Batman, has like not anything like abnormal like that, like superhero, superpower-ish kind of like.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's just like real, down to earth. It's like all real. I don't think there's gonna be anything like that, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, you never know. There might be something in there, or they just want to make a twist and somehow bring in Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
I was gonna say that. You probably can't afford him up.
Well, no, but if you think about it, if they combine the movies though, which would be confusing as shit. By the time the Joker or Joaquin Phoenix character version of the Joker is probably like in his 30s, 40s, maybe early 40s. The Joker or Bruce Wayne's only like 9, so like like he'd be trying to beat up an old man, which is Batman. Trying to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now let's get to the other side. This is mostly opinion related, but I want to compare these two since The Dark Knight is the best rated Batman movie, both by IMDb, both by fans, both by Metacritic, and I believe Rotten Tomatoes.
And by me.
Yeah, sure. And by Chad. But I just wanted to go over this a little bit between the fan ratings right now for the Batman. I'm assuming there's also not that many reviews because it just came out not that long ago. It's 8.4 out of 10, which is still really good, but that's out of 265,000 reviews or so. The Dark Knight is 9.1 out of 10, which is better, but that's also at a 2.5 million reviews. Your guys' opinion, and also my opinion, which movie do you think is better?
I like The Dark Knight better.
I feel like The Dark Knight is more watchable, again, just because the length is obviously a little bit shorter. But right now, I just think because I just watched the Batman, it's just like still setting in. I'm going to put them even right now. I don't think one is better than the other. I'm putting them both as phenomenal Batman movies. I'll probably rewatch both of them and make a better decision, but right now I think they're both phenomenal and at equal ground.
I like your opinion there, Bryce, with having them on equal ground. But personally, I do like The Dark Knight better, mainly for the fact that you have more of an action-packed, and it kept people watching a little bit better compared to Chad falling asleep.
Well, the new Batman is so dark, which obviously fits the gritty tone of the Gotham and everything.
Oh yeah, that plus
But,
Batman's supposed to be a darker movie.
Yeah.
Do we know if this
And
one
I'm
was
half
PG-13
blind
or
because I'm
rated R?
old and I wear glasses, so I'd like to see something on the screen rather than Batman could possibly be lurking in the shadows, and it's like 3 minutes later and they're still like, "Oh, now you're your boots." I'm like, "Well, that's kind of menacing and stuff," but like, yeah, okay, that's probably Batman maybe, but I gotta wait for him to get here. And, yeah, there's so much happened in the Dark Knight by the time you even see Batman in this one, and it has Heath Ledger, which
He's a great actor.
will put.
I can guarantee you though, when the first movie I did see of his was Dark Knight, but I watched his movies afterwards. No, I did not watch Brokeback Mountain.
You're missing out.
I didn't see it either, but I heard he turned a lot of people gay in that one.
Cowboy shit.
Um,
But back to the kind of the ratings here. Just because I wanted to, FYI, and give this information out there for Metacritic score that's shown on IMDb. I just find it funny the differences in what fans think and what critics think, mainly for the fact that like 8.4 out of 10 for the Batman. So if that's out of 100 for Metacritic, that's 84 out of 100, compared to the Metacritic of 72 out of 100. Like clearly fans liked it better than the critics did.
Critics got to be a little harsher though too. They point out the weirder stuff that the regular casual viewer is not going to care about.
Well, then that's how a movie becomes a cult classic when nobody watches it and like just fans, not critics. And then for The Dark Knight, you have 9.1 out of 10 or 91 out of 100 for fans, and then Metacritic is 84 out of 100, which is still really good and one of the better movies that there around. I've seen some movies with a Rotten Tomato score of 0, so it's just like, holy shit. Are you guys hoping to see a potential sequel, though, in the series with Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I'd watch a sequel. But there's some characters that weren't really fleshed out, such as the Penguin. And apparently the guy that died, but I guess I'm not going to get more information on him.
Honestly, you might.
You might.
If they do like a flashback.
Or
Or like, good. You killed him, but really you needed to kill him type of shit. Which they've done in like so many different other movies. But yeah, you never know. I'm hoping to see a new one. I want to see them do the Joker, the Clayface, like you said, and the most ridiculous character I've always wanted to see a live action version of, and that's Man-Bat. I just want to see how they would put a spin on that.
Mm-hmm.
And just because of that, I feel like they put Ben Affleck back as Batman, not Robert Pattinson. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming out today, doing this discussion with me about Batman and the Dark Knight.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That is all the time we have for this episode today. Thank you both, Bryce and Chad, for being my guests today. Hopefully you guys can come back for the next episode of the podcast.
You're welcome.
Okay. And then check out some more content on YouTube at Chris Region Network for unboxings, pack openings, music, movie, video game reviews, and much, much more. Stay tuned. Follow us on Spotify for more podcasts of a lot of other topics as well. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Go see the Batman. Okay.
This is Reason to Talk with Chris Reason.